Am I the asshole for how I reacted to my cousin coming out? I know the title sound bad, but hear me out. This happened when my mom invited my aunt over for dinner. She was cooking spaghetti and she only cooked that once a month. My cousin 18 meters stood up and said that he was bisexual. I just humped my shoulders and keep eating. Everyone else except my two younger brothers were talking to him about it. He asked me, do I have anything to say? I said no and kept eating. He looked at me with a blank face, and said, are you sure? I said congratulations. He wasn't satisfied with that, called me insensitive homophobe. My aunt said I ruined family dinner. I don't know what I did, but everyone is calling me upset, saying I should have said more. That he is right, I'm insensitive. Aita. Edit, I'm about to call him and apologies.
Nah, neutrality isn't negative, but your cousins probably had to build up courage to come out. Reach out to him and say point blank, hey, it's cool you came out to us. I support you, but I have one love in life and that is mom's spaghetti.
I feel like there must be more to the story here if your whole family is calling you and telling you they are upset with the way you reacted. Maybe if it was just the cousin and your aunt, I could see an argument for just being misunderstood, but it seems really unlikely a whole room full of people would be that upset if things really went down exactly as in your post. Cousin specifically asking you, and only you, twice if you had anything to say kind of hints that there is something, or some context missing there.
You are the asshole. It sounds rather ignorant that you didn't acknowledge this in any way but just carried on eating. If he'd announced anything else, I'm getting married, I'm about to become a father, I have a record deal, I'm going to be on TV, common courtesy is such that you at least stop shoveling food into your mouth for 10 seconds, acknowledge the news and then go back to eating. But it sounds like you couldn't be bothered doing that.
It's weird that you didn't have any reaction at all. Do you not like your cousin? Do you often experience this inability to empathize with people? It does seem like you went out of your way to show no reaction, which suggests you were making some kind of point. The nice thing to do would have been to congratulate them. Slight, you are the asshole.
Your cousin was making himself emotionally vulnerable and exposing himself to his family. You humped your shoulders.
Nah, you sounded neutral to it, which I applaud. I wish most people felt it wasn't a big deal. Maybe your body language made it seem like you had problems, IDK. Though your aunt's reaction just seems weird, maybe they had issues with it.
You are the asshole. I saw this a while ago, but generally you want to match energies when someone is telling you something important. Like if he just went, yo, I'm bi. That's it. Then just, Ait cool. Simple, plain and easy. But it was clearly important to him and it's so easy to just go, hey, congrats on coming out. It can be really hard for some people to come out and it is a part of his identity. Saying nothing on it and just being indifferent to it says that you're being indifferent to him. It might not have been your intention, but that's what you said. But like a really soft you are the asshole, like borderline not ta.
Not the asshole. I genuinely don't see why people are expected to fawn over people that come out, be supportive to some degree sure, but to get crazy excited or really care any more than you would care about a straight friend. No.
I think it's hard to make a judgment on this, both because your reaction isn't necessarily bad, but coming from a queer person. Coming out is very 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 hard in a lot of cases. There can be a lot of anxiety and maybe your cousin had to really hype himself up, adrenaline pumping and all that jazz. And for you to not say anything was probably a huge letdown. This was super important to him. The least you could do was acknowledge that this was a very vulnerable thing for him to share. Acknowledge him and tell him nothing has changed, you're still going to be in his life, etc. A lot of us need to hear people aren't going to cut off us because of this. When someone comes to you with something, match their energy, excitement. If he had been super casual, a casual response had been appropriate. But he wasn't casual, from what I can gather from your post. So I think I'm going with a soft you are the asshole here.
Not the asshole, I'm LGBTQ+ and bi as well, and honestly that's the kind of reaction I would want the most. Not making a fuss, just acceptance and treating me otherwise the same. I am disturbed by their reactions. A calm reaction from you helps to normalize LGBTQ+ orientations and, gosh I just. HHH you're doing great op 2 hearts 2 hearts.
Slight, you are the asshole. You obviously aren't homophobic, but coming out is kind of a big deal for a young LGBTQ person. If you have no problem with it, there's no harm in acting a little more positively for his sake. A lot of LGBTQ people don't get any kind of affirmation that their identity is okay. You could have just said, cool, that doesn't change anything, and probably would have gotten a lot more mileage. I get that being neutral about people's sexual orientations is ideal, but we still live in a world that discriminates against LGBTQ people, so being more affirming can be really helpful for someone that is coming out.
You are the asshole. A simple acknowledgement is normal for most life events: graduation, engagement, job promotion, etc. 2 seconds of eye contact and a few words was the basic amount of social decency you needed to show, and you couldn't be bothered. You must be a hit at parties.
Not the asshole. That must be amazing spaghetti.
You are the asshole. I also get annoyed when someone decides to interrupt a meal I'm enjoying, but it's a big deal for him and your family, and you could have at least taken a moment to raise a glass to him or something. It certainly would have been less hassle than what you're dealing with now.
I say not the asshole. As long as you don't say or do anything disrespectful, it's okay to not have a huge reaction to someone coming out.
You are the asshole. Coming out, similar to an engagement, promotion, baby, etc., is one of those life occasions where not reacting is kind of a dick move.
You are the asshole for caring more about a plate of food than a possibly life-changing moment for your cousin.
Wow. You are the asshole. You have no basic manners for family dinner.
Obvious troll. Especially from your comments, you are the asshole.
Not the asshole. Being bi is as normal as heterosexual, so IDK, what's the big deal about your reaction? You accepted the news, end of story.
Not the asshole. I think it's actually kinda cool that you're normal about it, depending on the reasoning behind it, of course. Maybe one day we can live in a world where LGBTQ+ will be treated as normal by everyone or mostly everyone. But I am also a cynic at heart, so rip that too.
You are the asshole. Why did you say no? You did sound insensitive. Basic courtesy would be to at least acknowledge his announcement. It's not easy to come out even in front of family. You sound young. This is something you can learn to do next time someone tells you a big news. Not the asshole. IDK, what he expected from you, but for me that's not a bad reaction. I would have reacted the same, simply because I think being bisexual is as normal as being hetero, so I wouldn't feel the need to ask anything about it. He came out, you didn't react in a bad way, not the asshole. You are the asshole. Sure, in an ideal world this might be something that you could have no strong reaction to. But coming out to the family was clearly a big deal for your cousin, and I think it's kinda a dick move to treat a major life decision of a loved one like it's mundane. Like, imagine if you said that you were getting married, moving to another country for a job, or that you got into that university you wanted to, and your family acted completely indifferent to it. That would probably make you feel like you hadn't actually hit a major milestone.
Not the asshole. You seem unfazed by it. What are you supposed to do, throw him a party? Rolling on the floor laughing.
Leaning towards more, you are the asshole because he made an announcement and you just ignored him like he didn't exist. It's rude not to acknowledge something that took a lot of courage to say.
Not the asshole. You said and did nothing bad. Not the asshole. How are you homophobic when you didn't even say anything? If anything, that would be the opposite.
You are the asshole. Some people may not want a big reaction, but clearly he did. Coming out takes so much courage, and sure, you didn't have a negative reaction, but would it really have hurt to show some support? If I came out to someone and they had no visible reaction to it whatsoever and were paying more attention to their spaghetti, I'd be offended. Acknowledgement and verbal affirmation of support isn't an obligation, but it's so important in these situations. Just because you don't have to do something, doesn't mean you shouldn't. I don't blame your cousin at all. Not the asshole. IDK, what he expected. Not the asshole. It's his sexuality, it shouldn't be important to anyone else but him and his partners.
Not the asshole. How are you even supposed to react? I certainly wouldn't know what to say right on the spot.
Not the asshole. Isn't the whole goal for being bi, or gay, or whatever, to be pretty much as mess a what? As being cis is? I'd probably have the same reaction as you and think it's actually worse to fake a woo wow you're so brave and sound patronizing.
You are the asshole. Coming out is for many a big deal. Just congratulate him and tell him you're proud.
Not the asshole. It's not like you were rude to him.
Did they want you to throw confetti? Not the asshole.
Not the asshole. Isn't OP's reaction what the LGBTQ community wants in the end? Isn't normalization of sexuality their end goal? If so, why react? We are living in 2020. If someone comes out during dinner, I would say, great, pass the butter.
I'm fascinated by the obsession with spaghetti here. M&M references aside, was it so good you couldn't pause shoving your fork in your face for 3 freaking minutes to say, glad you trust us with that information, happy for you, or something else supportive? You are the asshole.
Not the asshole. I can see how he'd maybe like some praise for coming out, but I don't see how it ruined family dinner.
Not the asshole. You aren't obligated to make a big deal one way or the other.
You are the asshole. This was an important moment for him. How would you feel if you announced something to your family like getting into university, having a new GF, BF, ECT and everyone just shrugged? It's not a very kind way to react.
Not the asshole. As a bisexual person, I don't see why LGBT people feel entitled to a huge reaction when they come out.
Not the asshole. What happened to wanting it to be seen as normal? Your reaction was literally just a, okay, good for you. I don't care though. Isn't that how it is wanted? That is acceptance, not making a big deal of it.
Not the asshole. How are you homophobic? He announced his bisexuality while you were eating, and you kept eating and didn't say anything at all. In the end, you said congratulations, which is a nice thing to do. What more could you have said? You didn't ruin family dinner. Their ridiculous expectations ruined family dinner.
Not the asshole. Sharing your sexual business should be an off-limits topic of conversation in the first place, and he's gross for bringing it up at the dinner table.
YTA. You shouldn't be expected to throw him a party or treat him differently for coming out, but you could have at least acknowledged what he said. Coming out can be a hard thing to do, and it was obviously important to him, so you could have at least acknowledged it in some way, even just a smile and nod. Edit. Changing to everyone sucks here because your cousin also sucks for calling you a homophobe when that isn't the issue.
Nah. A neutral response in your case I'm thinking means, cool man, you do you, but to them it meant, I don't care, go away, which is just a big miscommunication.
100% not the asshole. I would react the same way. Maybe it's the location I was raised, but being gay is really NBD, and congratulating someone on their sexual preferences seems silly. Not the asshole at all. You cannot expect a round of applause for everything. Coming out may be a big moment in someone's life, sure, but that doesn't mean it has to be a big moment in everyone else's life as well. You didn't react in a negative way, you just didn't react. That isn't homophobic.
Not the asshole. Sorry, it's not always a news day when someone comes out. Good for him. But he's not some oddity that needs to be interviewed about every aspect of it. Enjoy your new freedom, bro. But dinner is getting cold.